seems like a new era in All Elite Wrestling here after all the controversy. This is a show that they desperately needed, my friend, and I'm very happy to say that Full Gear was awesome. It was so much fun to watch.
Yeah. The last time you saw us up here for an AEW pay-per-view, because we did go over Grand Slam, AEW was pretty much in shambles. They had an all-out show, which was very long and very exhausting. And it had a finish to a main event that left a very sour taste in my mouth. But then we had some very controversial aftermath of that pay-per-view, which led AEW into a very dark time for a while. But what a couple months it's been. I feel like AEW has done a complete 180. I know Dynamite hasn't been the best, but I was very surprised and it was a welcome surprise.
Yeah.
How good this pay-per-view was. We are talking about AEW Full Gear 2022, emanating live from Newark, New Jersey. And AEW really knows how to book their pay-per-views and how to book hometown heroes into, big storylines.
This should be a spoiler alert for the main event where this pay-per-view took place in the arena of the New Jersey Devils. The devil himself in the main event. I just noticed.
AEW does a lot of things right, and they do tend to find themselves at the right place at the right time. But anywho, we have 13 matches. No, not 13, like 15 matches to talk about. 14.
Well, I mean, the pre-show I wasn't really paying all that much attention to. It was mainly background noise.
No. I wasn't trying to be a smartass. I'm looking at it here. I know it's 13 matches. I still think AEW could knock a match off the pre-show and knock a match off the main card. I get it. They're trying to give us our money's worth. I did not get gassed out by this pay-per-view, probably until the last two matches. But on this pre-show, we have a huge 10-man tag team match, including I did not know this, but the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy and Rocky Romero are collectively known as Chaos.
Yeah.
And they were going to be joined by a very evil, very mysterious partner. And they were going to take on the Factory, which is QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, Lee Johnson, and Nick Camarado, and Cole Carter. This was a match thrown together. Was it Rampage or Dynamite? But this was
what does it matter?
A match. Danhausen.
Danhausen was advertised, right? Can I cut you off real quick? Danhausen was advertised for this match, and then they were like, "Oh, Danhausen is injured, so the Best Friends are going to have a mystery partner." Only for it to turn out to be Danhausen with a altered personality, with a more evil personality.
Yeah,
weird.
I feel like this was a very hard to understand if you're a casual fan, if you've been really hardcore and you know Danhausen's career outside of AEW when he was on the indie circuit and most famously in Ring of Honor. Danhausen does have sort of an alter ego, and this alter ego is very similar to Penta and Penta Dark or Finn Balor and the Demon King, but it's very, very subtle. Danhausen, as we know, is very goofy. He's very silly. He likes to put curses on people, but he has a very evil side to him, and it involves him carrying around a jar of teeth. And he has a railroad spike that he carries around with him, and he knocks people's teeth out and he collects them. I remember him saying this in a promo in Ring of Honor, that he likes to collect the teeth of his opponent. But this match starts off, and Danhausen has not entered the match yet. It's your typical match. Orange Cassidy, one of my favorites in AEW. I love Trent Beretta. Rocky Romero, I watched wrestle in a middle school gymnasium in my hometown, believe it or not. So it's really crazy to see all the success that Romero has had in New Japan Pro, and him being a regular here on AEW Dynamite. The Factory is your jobber faction. It basically is that. It's a bunch of it's like in the spirit of Christmas, it's like your land of the misfit toys.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Factory wishes they were as over as the Job Squad was. Anyhow.
You have a bunch of people that have no personality. Like, you don't know anything about Aaron Solo. Lee Johnson used to be Cody Rhodes' former young boy. Nick Camarado was a big dude with a good look, but they don't do anything with him. Cole Carter was the fake Sting, and they expected us to know who the fuck he was when he unmasked. And QT Marshall is the leader of the Goof Troop.
Yeah, he's the leader of the Goof.
These guys.
The Goof Troop, who stole PvP and Randy Orton's finisher. that's
as you guys know, if you've been a follower of this podcast since the early days, I have been very harsh on QT Marshall, and that's because I didn't think he had a lot of personality. I didn't really appreciate that his finisher was just straight up stolen. There's a difference between making a finisher in your own and then them just saying on TV, oh, QT Marshall asked DDP's permission to use the diamond cutter, and it's still the diamond cutter. I just think it's very uncreative. But as the years have gone on, I have seen that Marshall apparently is a very nice person in real life, and he has a hand in training in a lot of the talent in Dynamite in AEW, and apparently he has a pretty prominent role backstage. So I kind of lighten up on my stance on him. You don't really see him, so I have no reason to hate this guy anymore. It's just really frustrating when he's being featured in a semi-main event spot, and this guy has really nothing. This guy has nothing to write home about.
No, absolutely not. But I mean, the baby faces win. It's your typical 10-man tag team match. Nothing too much to write home about there. You also had Ricky Starks beating Brian Cage in the semifinals of the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament. So that means that Ricky Starks is facing All Ego on Dynamite this week. I don't even think they touched on the fact that these two guys were teammates in Team Taz for a time. At all.
They really did it. I think Taz maybe have brought it up, but when Taz said he cleaned his hands of Team Taz, he was not joking. He doesn't really talk about it anymore. As we know, Brian Cage is part of Prince Nana's faction in Ring of Honor. And Ricky Starks, we have a star in our hands, my friend. Starks beat Cage pretty clean in this match with the Rochambeau. Kind of a sloppy finish, but Cage is a big dude. These guys got 10 minutes, and I think these guys are both fantastic wrestlers. If Tony Khan books Ricky Starks right, we have a future star here.
We have a future world champion.
He's got the look. Yeah, he's got the look. He's got the charisma. I remember watching Ricky Starks back when NWA Power was good, and watching him carry the television title was a treat. And just watching this guy, and when the pandemic hit, and seeing AEW scoop him up was probably one of the nicest surprises that I got during 2020, because I didn't want to see Starks lose momentum. And even though he's been kind of AWOL on TV lately, again, it's a shame that AEW books these number one contender tournaments a little too close to big feuds with the world title. And I have no confidence that whoever wins this tournament is going to win the world title, because as you saw at the end of this pay-per-view, it's really, it's like in WWE, if they were building to the Roman Reigns Drew McIntyre match, and then on the side, they were doing a tournament to see who was going to face the winner of that. And it was just filled with guys like, people that are not going to win. That's like
Ricochet.
Ricochet.
Austin Theory. Mustafa Ali.
Guys that are not going to touch that world title. So it's kind of a shame that we already see the writing on the wall with this. But Starks is a star, and I love him. And a wrestler is over that anytime I see him on TV, I got to strike the Ricky Starks pose. It's so fun. And his theme song is a bop.
Absolutely. Pun intended there. But yeah, Ricky Starks beats him pretty convincingly. I mean, I'm thinking if anybody is going to win this tournament, it's probably Starks, but it'll get him some good exposure. He's not going to win the title. No way in hell. But not yet. I would love for Ricky Starks to be world champion, but again, it's a little too booked closely. I have a sin that I need to confess. This following match, I was not really paying attention to. It's supposed to be a dream match, but which was put together on Rampage.
Yeah, and then the tag team match that was also considered a dream match was booked on Dynamite the previous Wednesday. Eddie Kingston is taking on June Akiyama from DDT Pro Wrestling, and apparently this is a very important match to Kingston. If you know Eddie on social media, he loves old school Japanese wrestling. He literally posts nothing else but old school clips from old Japan matches. One thing that I really love about Eddie is that he loves the business. Mm-hmm. You will not find a bigger fan of professional wrestling than Eddie Kingston. And he was getting very emotional before the match, and he was very emotional in this match. it's a shame that AEW didn't bring a little more build to this match and it was just thrown together at the last second, because this was a good match, and it was very important to Kingston.
It was freaking violent too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
I was happy to see this match happen for Kingston. It's just a damn shame that it wasn't really all that high on AEW's priority list.
And I would love to see Eddie Kingston wrestle more matches like this on the main show, just because Eddie Kingston is too good for the pre-show, in my opinion. And he put on a good match with Jun Akiyama, who looks really good for his age. Like, the thing that really got me about this match watching it was how much these two respect each other, but yet they were beating the fuck out of one another. How hard these chops were. You would imagine this was like a blood feud. And these two were like selling the legitimacy of this fight too, which I really respect.
And you go back to All Out, it's very reminiscent of All Out and Eddie's match with Tomohiro Ishii. And it was just like, it was very thrown together at the last second. It was given not a lot of time, probably the same amount of time that this match got. But, it was a stiff classic. And Eddie really appreciated being in there. It's just that I agree with you. Eddie should not be being booked on the pre-show. He should be being booked on the main show. And, here's the thing. Here's the things we know about Kingston. He's a hothead. He's very passionate. He's very insecure. And he doesn't have the quote-unquote body type of a professional wrestler. But you know what? I would rather have somebody that's this passionate about the business in a main event spot over some green talent that I don't really care that much for.
Man, remember when
AEW has that many green talents?
Remember when Eddie Kingston wrestled Jon Moxley in an I Quit match 2 years ago at this very event? Eddie Kingston was in big matches the previous 2 Full Gears, not just against Mox, but I know this name's taboo now, but he wrestled CM Punk at last year's Full Gear, and that was a really stiff match in and of itself. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy like status in the company right now compared to what it was.
Where Kingston, where Kingston is at this, he should be booked better. And one thing, I brought up NWA Power. Eddie was another cast-off from the old NWA Power days. I remember him holding the tag team titles with Homicide, and he was another talent that got scooped up by AEW. And I was really happy to see it, because you just see how Kingston just presents himself on television, and he loves this. And you want to talk about his love for professional wrestling. He got on the mic afterward. He was very emotional, and he was selling the pay-per-view.
Yes.
That's not Eddie's job to sell the pay-per-view, but here he is because he fucking loves this business.
He does. Like, he was selling both the big women's matches that we're going to get to, and then the dude at ringside was like, "You're out of time," and he's like, "Oh, shit, I'm out of time. See you guys." And then he just goes to the back. You should be trained to list off the whole match card in 45 seconds like Excalibur does.
Yeah. Kingston's a cool dude. He looks like the kind of guy that he's the kind of friend I wish I had growing up, because I feel like you could talk to Eddie about pro wrestling for 24 hours straight and he'd never get tired of it. I love him. I love him as a talent. Again, we know he's not perfect as a person, but you gotta love
nobody is. Nobody is, but okay, so we get into the main show. You get a weird DraftKings advertisement before you get to our opening contest, which is actually the match I was looking forward to the most out of everything else, believe it or not. Had the most personal story out of anything else, and it had a solid steel cage surrounding them. It's Jungle Boy Jack Perry going one-on-one with his former best friend Luchasaurus inside a solid steel Christian cage. I have been waiting all day to make that joke.
Speaking of Christian,
it's
Christian, the injured Christian Cage is accompanying Luchasaurus to the ring. You know what? Christian Cage has been on the shelf for quite some time, but I love this kind of pseudo managerial role he has inserted himself in.
Yes.
If he can't be in the ring, he's going to be in Luchasaurus's corner. He just looks like such a douche with his turtleneck sweater and his sling that he has to wear.
He looks like Steve Jobs.
You said that. Yeah, and you mentioned that this was, the most personal match on the show. I think this is the best booked rivalry in AEW right now, because Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Christian Cage have been feuding for the better part of, I feel like, 6 months now. And Christian Cage went down with an injury, so they inserted Luchasaurus in, which was perfect because Luchasaurus was Jungle Boy's best friend, and now Jack Perry has to fight his former best friend. And I feel like this is the perfect feud to segue into when Christian Cage returns. So I just feel like this is the perfect way to book the feud. They had a match on Dynamite that Luchasaurus won, and he should have. And then you have the grudge match payoff here at the pay-per-view. And even though this match was as brutal as it was, apparently Christian's not going to be back until next year. So I say you run this back one more time.
Yeah.
Give Jack Perry something to do. Keep him relevant in this storyline until Christian Cage comes back. A lot of people were saying, like, oh, do you think the issue is over? It's not over until Jungle Boy has Christian Cage in his hands and gives him a concerto. And if that has to wait another few months, then so be it.
But this was a star-making turn for Jungle Boy Jack Perry in this cage match. This is a awesome opener. I really, really dug this. These two guys went 19 minutes, and Jungle Boy even said at the media scrum afterwards, and I listened to his interview, and he said that talking with Luchasaurus all the time, one of Luchasaurus's favorite wrestling matches is the first ever Hell in a Cell match between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. So they both were wanting to pay homage to this as best they could, and they brawled outside the cage. There was a point where Christian swipes the key from referee Mike Posey, opens it up, action spills to the outside. Jungle Boy takes a slingshot bump into the cage, which looks really, really sick. Jungle Boy was bumping his ass off Luchasaurus as well. He looks like a fucking monster, man. Luchasaurus,
Christian
heel turn, the right hand of destruction, Luchasaurus. That's the Luchasaurus I need. It's so good.
Yeah, Christian swiping the key leads to him getting ejected from the arena, so he is no longer a factor in this match. And you brought up a really good point. Luchasaurus was out there looking like a 1998 Kane. He is such a monster. I even said way back in the early days of AEW, I think Luchasaurus is a future AEW world champion. This guy is good. He does shit that a man his size should not be able to do.
He's
and
a
now
spectacle.
that he has transitioned into this, he's a spectacle. And he was Jungle Boy was bumping for this guy because even though this match was about Jack Perry, Perry made sure to make his best buddy look good. And they were just, again, even in the early stages of the matches, in the match, Luchasaurus was lawn darting Jack Perry into the side of the cage. That looked like hurt as fuck. I noticed that the cage wasn't even touching the ground all the way, and there was a little bit of an opening between the cage and the apron. So it allowed for kind of Hell in a Cell-esque spots to happen. I also really appreciate in AEW, you cannot win a cage match by escaping. And considering seeing all the ass backwards booking WWE has been doing with cages, I think it's time to retire that rule. Cage matches aren't about, I know there's some drama to trying to escape the cage, but you go back to 1989 WCW and you look at Harley Race and Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair. A cage match was about beating the ever living hell out of your opponent, not trying to escape from them. There's blood. There's it's a grudge match.
That's the whole point of a steel
opponent
cage.
To leave the cage.
To keep them contained within the ring. Obviously, there was a whole sequence where they escaped the cage and they fought outside, but it was a really, really well-booked old-school steel cage match, man. Exactly to your point, Luchasaurus, within the first 2 minutes of the match, throws Jack Perry into the side of the cage like a fucking javelin, and Jungle Boy's blading already. So it takes 2 minutes into the first match on this pay-per-view to get a blade job. And Jungle Boy...
Luchasaurus hits Jungle Boy with a nasty choke slam through a chair.
Oh, God, yeah, that was not a smart bump. I was kind of scared that Jungle Boy was going to take that choke slam on the back of the chair like Adam Cole does, but nope. He just took it right on the seat and just flattened it. Jack Perry kept fighting back. He had a big, fiery comeback. He hits the kill switch on Luchasaurus as well. He's doing the second rope choke that Christian Cage also does to Luchasaurus. But then we get to the big spot of the match. Fans are chanting, "This is awesome." There's a table in the ring. Luchasaurus is down on the table. Jungle Boy looks up to the heavens, and the crowd is already getting on their feet. Some of them in the first row are chanting, "Please don't die," as he ascends to the top, and he hits a big freaking flying elbow. And it wasn't the cleanest looking table bump that I've ever seen, but it was still a sight to see Jungle Boy take that leap.
Not Jack Perry's fault. I'm surprised he did not shatter his elbow on this spot because he lands the elbow and the table almost doesn't break. I am sure Matthew was laughing his ass off watching that because he already has a clip for his Botchamania series. But, you know, this spot was just so beautiful. It was very Shawn Michaels-esque. And, you know, I already went on a huge tangent of why Shawn Michaels is my favorite professional wrestler in history. But when he was soaring off that cage, I just saw HBK in this kid. And that is able to score Jungle Boy the win. He's able to lock on the snare trap, and Luchasaurus is gushing blood out of his mouth. And the only, like, you know, regret I have with this match is that I knew that was the end of it. I wanted to see these guys go longer. This was such a fun match, and I give it 4 stars.
I'm going 4 as well.
Opener. Yeah, this was an excellent opener. Had a lot of brutal spots. It had blood when it needed to have blood. And you talk about the fans not wanting Jungle Boy to die. His mom and his sister were sitting front row for this show. And, you know, I'm sure Jungle Boy's mom was praying that his baby boy doesn't die off of this spot.
No, thank God he was okay.
That Jack Perry's mother and sister, I love how they're in the crowd for a lot of these matches. I love how they're interacting with Christian Cage. Christian Cage is hitting on his sister, and his sister gives him the finger. I love the participation from the family.
And Christian getting ejected also was extremely satisfying because that meant that these two friends could go at it one-on-one. And I love the call that JR had as they were taking Christian out. They were like, no, don't break his arm. Be careful. He was being so sarcastic.
For a second, I thought Cage was going to, Christian was going to try to escape from the security just to reveal he was never hurt to begin with. But obviously we know he is hurt and he's going to be out for a little longer. So his arm must be doing a little better, you know, considering that he was kind of manhandled tonight, but he's still not ready to wrestle. He's probably just trying to rest that shoulder as much as possible. And again, back to the rivalry with Christian Cage, this does not end until Jungle Boy gets his hands on Christian Cage. I love the long-term booking of this feud, even though this wasn't supposed to be the case. This is a case for AEW where they're handling the curveball being thrown at them very well. And, you know, this was, you know, considering a cage match should be the end of it, I want to see these guys go one more time.
Yeah, maybe even in a lights-out match at the end of the year.
That's a very good idea, actually. I would love to see a lights-out match between these two. And you know what? As everyone was saying after this match, Jungle Boy, you're a jungle man now. This was a career-defining moment for Jack Perry.
Listen, I'm a huge Jungle Boy fan. He's probably, actually thinking about it, one of my favorite wrestlers on this roster. He is just like, at such a young age, he is so sharp in the ring. He has a huge passion for this business. He has a great look as well. The crowd loves this thing. The crowd loves this guy. They're singing Tarzan Boy as he walks out to the ring. I hear Tarzan Boy on the radio sometimes while I'm driving to my day job. This crowd loves a bit of Jungle Boy. I would not mind seeing him win the big one at some point down the line. But at this time, Tomas, I have a question for you. Is this the biggest win of his career so far?
Absolutely it is.
Yeah? Bigger than the Casino Battle Royale?
Absolutely it is. Absolutely, because he didn't win the world title after that. This was a marquee match on a pay-per-view that Jungle Boy won all on his own. And, you know, you go back to how organically over this guy is. If you think Jack Perry got to where he was because of his name, you're wrong. Because this kid has been working since day one. He went to wrestling school. He worked the indie circuit. He told AEW, I do not want to go by my real name. Because he wanted to organically get over. And he gave special permission to JR to call him Jack Perry. And Jungle Boy did not start going by Jack Perry until he was comfortable with it. And honestly, when I hear the name Jack Perry, I don't think of Luke Perry's son. I think of the excellent wrestler that is Jungle Boy.
Yeah. Went to Chris Lash's wrestling school as well. Shout out to him. Bay Area favorite. But my friend, this is a big topic coming up next here.
This was a match that I was going into a little weary, not going to lie. The Death Triangle, Pac, Penta, El Cero Miedo, and oh my goodness, I can't roll my R's after I drink water. Ray Fenix are going to defend their trios titles against the Elite. Yes, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks making their return to AEW. Again, let's address the elephant in the room. After All Out, Omega and the Bucks were suspended after the Brawl Out situation, getting into a fight with CM Punk in the locker room area. After the scrum, There have been stories running rampant. Who started what? There were rumors that the Elite kicked down the door. There were rumors they did not do that because they had the head of legal in there with them. There are rumors that they kicked the door into the dog's face. There are stories that Kenny Omega was trying to protect the dog. Kenny Omega got bit. There was chairs flying all over the place. So all parties involved had to get suspended. I do agree with the Elite needing to get suspended because regardless, you were involved in a fight. You are the EVPs of this company. You need to handle yourselves a little better. So when I heard that the Elite were coming back to challenge for the trios titles, I got a little nervous because the writing, everyone's predictions that the Elite were going to just come back and win back the trios titles. I'm going to tell everyone something right now. I don't think that's right. I think that's very immoral. I do not think just because you have a head status in a company, if you do something wrong and you come right back, I don't think you're just allowed to just continue on like nothing happened. And I was probably the only one really cheering hard for the Death Triangle in this match. But before we get to the match, my friend, we were all anticipating this entrance. We were all very anxious to see what kind of reaction the Elite
It made me so happy.
And the lights. You know, here's the thing. Here's the thing before we reveal this. When the lights went out and, you know, they were getting the fanfare, in my mind, I was thinking, as much as I love the Elite's theme song, I think it would be very lackluster if that music just hit. You know what I mean? And AEW had the same thought because Wayward hits the stage. It fills the arena. And the minute I heard that, I was like, this is fucking cool.
By Kansas. And Tony Khan, Tony Khan really has a great grasp on, like, he has a great taste in music. I sing that song I know all the lyrics for sure. And hearing that just brought a big smile to my face. And seeing those guys on the stage brought a big smile to my face. And seeing them walk down to the ring, having such a great time, and seeing them so sharp as well in a phenomenal freaking match with the Death Triangle, like, it warmed my heart.
I will say right now, I'm not even a big Elite mark. Yeah, I'm a fan of Kenny Omega. I think that the Young Bucks are a great tag team, but I'm not an Elite stan, which I feel like 80% of the AEW audience is. But when they hit the stage after Wayward hit, I couldn't help but think that was fucking awesome, and I wish I was in the crowd for that because I'm sure the energy was electric that night. This match starts off as a House of Fire right away, and there is no point in trying to call this match move by move because it is a million moves a minute, and
this is a match.
The definition of junk food wrestling.
Yep, it's a match involving the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers. Could you expect anything else other than junk food wrestling? And you throw Kenny Omega and Pac into and it's just a great freaking dish.
Yeah. Before we get into my favorite spot of the match, near probably a couple minutes into the match, as the moves are starting to shoot left and right, we got a fuck CM Punk chant. And
we sure did. We sure did. I thought
I heard rumors.
I thought that was your favorite spot of the match was the fuck CM Punk chant. Like, disregard any other move that happened. That was the best spot of the match, was the crowd taking the correct side here. And I feel like at this point, we've all taken the correct side. And we can move on with our lives. CM Punk can stay the fuck out of our industry forever. Like, stay away. No more.
He's an afterthought. I don't want to talk about Phil Brooks anymore, but, there was a lot of speculation going into this match saying, like, oh, where are the CM Punk chants going to be? And I'm just like, is that really necessary? But when I heard the fuck CM Punk chants, I'm like, that's perfect. And that was the only time you heard this during this match, and it was the only time you heard it during the night. My favorite also was the sign when Kenny Omega was coming out that said, call Omega's pet sitting service, and it had a phone number. And I'm just like, that's fucking hilarious.
The phone number happens to be 867-5309.
Fans are so clever. No, but my favorite spot of the match was when Omega and one of the Bucks were going for the Indie Taker, and they're able to, the Death Triangle are able to reverse it into a triple tombstone pile driver. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. Literally
a Death Triangle. Because a tombstone pile driver was the Undertaker's finishing maneuver. Like he's putting his opponent in the grave. And, it's like the Death Triangle do that in triangular formation. Like, just the sequences in this match and the way they got to that spot is just so great. Omega,
you got Hurricane Ranas and suicide dives and poison Ranas and super kicks and moonsaults, and you got Fenix doing whatever the fuck he's doing. You got excellent balance from the Bucks doing a huge spot to the outside. This match was absolutely fucking insane, and I loved every minute of it. This was probably
so entertaining. I'm going to go with this as my second best match of the night. I think there was one more that was better than this that we'll get to in just a few moments, but man, oh man. Pac hits a Black Arrow, immediately followed by the Rings of Saturn on Kenny Omega. And
Brutalizer.
Rings of Saturn, Brutalizer, you know, potato. It's like calling the Hurt Lock a full
I thought you were going to say... I thought you were going to say Rings of Saturn sounds very... Oh, hell no. The Brutalizer is such a cooler name.
No, the Brutalizer is great. The Brutalizer is great, but, like, you know, it's just kind of interchangeable for me. So Omega hits a V trigger, and then the Tiger Driver 98 for a great near fall, and the crowd starts chanting "Fight Forever," which I'm sure is going to be a big chant for a lot of people, especially in Kenny Omega matches as the developer of the video game, with the Fight Forever subtitle.
This is when some of the storyline starts playing a factor into here. If you've been paying attention to AEW Dynamite and Rampage for the past few weeks, Pac has been using the ring bell hammer to win a lot of his matches. And you think after losing the All-Atlantic title to Orange Cassidy, he would have learned maybe you shouldn't use the ring hammer anymore. But no, he has been a huge instigator to Ray Fenix, telling him, use the hammer. We have to win by any means necessary. He's like that kid trying to offer you cigarettes at elementary school. It's like, come on, do it. You know you want to. And at this point of the match, Pac just reaches down in his trunks and pulls out a hammer. First of all, how was Pac able to wrestle this entire match with a huge, you know, with an object in his trunks?
That's a good question,
that
man.
Is absolutely, yeah. But Pac is trying to pressure Fenix into using the hammer, and Fenix doesn't want to use it. Then Omega sets up for the one-winged angel, and as he has him up there, you know, Fenix has the hammer, and it's very reminiscent of Vengeance 2005 with Triple H and the sledgehammer. And he's, you know, he's contemplating, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? And then he decides to just bonk Omega ahead and hammer into a victory roll. 1, 2, 3. I mark the fuck out. Death Triangle retains the trios titles. This was the right call.
For now, because it was revealed later on in the program that this is actually a best of 7 series for the Trios Championship. This was just match number 1, and it's going to go all the way to January 11th when they, if necessary, match number 7 is taking place in the Los Angeles Forum in the same building where MJF cut that infamous shoot promo.
I don't know how I feel about this, if I'm being perfectly honest. The best of 7, like, this is an excellent match, but you really think it's still going to hold that same, you know, that oomph at match 6?
You get tired of seeing it like over and over again after a while.
No. Here's the thing, though. You look back at best of 7 series in the past, you know, infamously Chris Benoit and Booker T. We had one between Claudio Castagnoli and Sheamus, infamously in 2016. You know, when it's a one-on-one match, there's a lot of room for like experimentation, a lot of storytelling. You know, the Benoit Booker one was really about Booker was up 3-0, and then Benoit came back and was able to score 3 wins in a row.
Yeah, it wasn't even
injured, and then Randy Orton had to take his place.
That was so weird. That was such a weird series because it was like so poorly timed. Booker T suffering a groin injury, and then Randy Orton subbing in for him and winning the United States Championship for Booker T. Like, it's bizarre.
Yeah, but when you have this absolutely insanity match that is Death Triangle and the Elite, do you really think they could keep it up for 6 matches? If they can, challenge fucking accepted. I hope it's good the first time, and let's see how good it is the 6th time, is all I'm going to say.
Better yet, the 7th time. But...
You know, it's like, I'm not going to eat a slice of chocolate cake 8 days in a row. You know what I mean?
No. Better yet, I'm not going to eat a slice of chocolate cake 7 weeks in a row. You know? It's...
Yeah.
But they're going to wrestle again this Wednesday on Dynamite for the Thanksgiving Eve edition. I'm going to go with 4.5 stars. This was a great 6-man tag team match. It was a lot of fun. Very, very great to see the Elite back. Looking as sharp as ever.
4.5 stars for me. Yeah, 4.5 stars for me easily. This was excellent. I loved it. But yeah, also another good comparison would be, that exciting feeling you got when your mom brought home McDonald's? Imagine if she did that like 10 days in a row. It wouldn't be that exciting anymore.
No, so better yet, imagine if your mom brought home Taco Bell for 7 days in a row. Like, that's even worse.
Yeah, exactly.
At least McDonald's has healthier options on the menu than Taco Bell does generally.
Exactly.
Okay, so next up, Jade Cargill is defending the TBS Championship against TBS champion Nyla Rose. This storyline has been going on for way too freaking long. Honestly, like, Tomas loves the steal a belt storyline, but it can only last for so long. Like, I'm sure he loved when Jinder Mahal stole the WWE Championship from Randy Orton for about 7 months, but
I did, but here's the thing, and I will agree with you with that. When you do it in an environment like WWE, when you have a pay-per-view every month, you can get away with the challenger stealing the belt because it's only going to last 2, maybe 3 weeks tops. But when you do it in AEW, when you only have a pay-per-view once every 4 or 5 months, I can see how it wears out as well. I just love this trope because it's the ultimate sign of disrespect. Someone steals your belt and they don't want to give it back. When Los Guerreros did it to the world's greatest tag team, I fucking loved it. You're going to hate me saying this, but I actually liked when the Great Khali did it to John Cena. It's just the ultimate sign of disrespect.
I forgot about that.
It's like,
I forgot about that.
It's the ultimate sign of disrespect. I also love when someone comes out with a title and then the commentators get so fucking mad. He is not the WWE champion. He may have the belt, but he is not the champion. I love it. It's the
Excalibur was hammering it into us, no pun intended, from the last match that Nyla Rose was not, in fact, the TBS champion, even though she was wearing it around her waist. Bless both these girls' hearts, but I could not get into this match. I thought this was the weakest on the show. It's sad to
let's note real quick that
best part of the match was the entrances.
Yeah, I was just about to segue into that.
Yeah,
Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose, I almost said Eddie. Vicky Guerrero and Marina Shafir. Why the fuck is Marina Shafir in her corner?
Why not? I mean,
you know why, Zach? You know why she's there? Because
why?
You don't know her. You don't know her.
I know she's Roderick Strong's wife.
You don't know her. You don't know her.
I'm not following.
Oh my god. She's a meme right now. She cut
great.
a shitty ass promo on Dark like a couple months ago, where she just looks into the camera and just keeps saying, "You don't know me. You don't know me." And she has been, oh my god, she has been the most memed out wrestler in the past 6 months.
Well,
it's pretty awful.
I think I should explain that I don't watch AEW Dark every week, so I probably would not have known that meme. But
I don't either. I just, when you're on Reddit and you watch meme compilations on YouTube of wrestling, it just kind of creeps in there all the time.
Yeah.
And she, again, they said something about Marina Shafir on Reddit, and literally all the comments were, it's like, well, of course, yeah, because you don't know her. You don't know her.
I don't. Even Jim Ross called this match bowling shoe ugly. I mean, Jade Cargill matches, once you see the pattern of a Jade Cargill match, you can't really unsee it, Like, it feels very much same old, It's, to me, this was, this was,
you know what I said at the end of this match?
What?
I said, they put on a cute little match. It was decent. Jade Cargill's getting better. Nyla Rose is a very underrated worker, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I did appreciate them using each other's finishers. Part of me wanted to see Nyla Rose win with the Jaded, because that would have been just so fucking disrespectful.
And the match, I will admit, does get bonus points for my favorite trope in wrestling, the stolen finisher being used in this match on both sides. Nyla Rose does hit the Jaded. Jade Cargill hit a beast bomb, which was very impressive. Even more impressive, Jade Cargill.
These ladies.
Yeah, go ahead.
In defense of these ladies, I will say, consider the era we live in when it comes to pro wrestling. It is very difficult to book big people because you think back to the 80s and the days of Andre the Giant and Kamala and, old school Undertaker. Back in the day, the spectacles, the big, larger than life wrestlers are what fans wanted to see. But that's not what modern fans want to see anymore. And it's really hard for people like Jade Cargill or Tomas or in the beginning, Braun Strowman or guys that were still hanging around like Big Show and Kane. It was very hard for them to stay relevant because the fans didn't want to see that anymore. They wanted to see what we saw in the match prior. They want to see the smaller guys. They want to see stuff that they've never seen before. And there's nothing too exciting about two giants, trying to overpower each other anymore. So credit to like Braun Strowman and the Big Show for getting as over as they did 5 years ago in those series of matches that were actually good house fights. And I feel bad for a guy like Omos because it's just so hard for him to get over because that's not what wrestling fans want. So with all of that into consideration, I think these girls tried their hardest to put on a semi-decent match. And this could have been a lot worse than what it was. But I'm glad it's over. This feud went on for way too long. I'll give it 2.25 for effort. Who's going to beat Jade Cargill? I don't fucking know.
I'm going to give it a 2. I'm going to give it a Chris Slash special. Jade Cargill does hit the Jaded on Nyla Rose, which again was very, very impressive and retains the title. She is 42-0, which I'm sure is legit, unlike what WCW was doing with Wardlow. I mean, Goldberg back in 1998 when, I'm sorry, I keep mixing those two up nowadays. Their gimmicks are so fucking similar. But anyway.
Hey, don't insult Goldberg like that.
I thought you were gonna say don't insult Wardlow like that, but
yeah, I might be a little harsh on Wardlow tonight.
Oh boy, here we go. Yeah. So let's get serious. Let's get serious here.
Yeah, here we go. I'm not gonna lie, this was my sleeper match of the night. I wasn't really thinking much of this match going into the pay-per-view, but it's a 4-way match for the Ring of Honor World Title as the Ocho Chris Jericho defends against the American Dragon Bryan Danielson, the Swiss Superman, Claudio Castagnoli, and the Spanish God, Sammy Guevara. One reason why I was sleeping on this match is because we've seen Jericho and Danielson 3 times now. Claudio Castagnoli is the guy who Jericho beat for the title, and Guevara's not a Ring of Honor guy. So this is just another chapter in the ongoing feud that is JAS versus the BCC. But this match was fucking excellent from start to finish.
You know something, Tomas? This was my match of the night. I freaking loved this thing. Just like, first of all, can we just again praise Chris Jericho for his ability to just reinvent himself constantly? He was the Wizard 6 months ago, and now he's calling himself the Ocho just because he's carrying around the ROH World Title, which is still a crazy sentence for me to say. Chris Jericho, Ring of Honor World Champion.
So you mean to tell me in AEW's 3-year existence, he's gone from being the Painmaker to the Demo Guy to the Sex Guy to the Wizard to the Ocho to the Rainmaker to all these different gimmicks? I swear, this guy had like 10 gimmicks since he came to AEW. Yeah,
to Les Champions
once again. Les Champions, thank you. That was one of the first gimmicks I wanted to say. And every single one of those gimmicks has gotten over.
Yeah. Jericho's the man. Bryan Danielson is also the man. Claudio Castagnoli, even more so, is the man. Like, this is just... My word was this match good. Like, all the wrestling in here was super, super crisp. Chris Jericho was looking awesome for someone going on 50 years old, if not already 50. But Tomas...
Yeah, you left out a name.
Yeah.
You left out a name in that little bunch.
Who's the MVP? Sammy Guevara. Yeah,
Sammy Guevara.
In there.
He's the fucking man. He was going insane in this match. He was doing Spanish flies, standing Spanish flies. He was doing Spanish flies off the top rope. He did a shooting star press in the ring. He did a shooting star press outside of the ring. This man, say what you want of say what you want about him as a person. He's a fucking fantastic wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
And I love how much heat he has with the crowd. because he'll do a string of successful moves and the fans will chant "fuck you, Sammy."
I
don't know what is.
I never said he wasn't a fantastic wrestler, dude. I think he was awesome in here, and I agree with that sentiment. Like, with 3 big technical wrestling names like that in the ring with him, he hung in there. He really hung in there with the best of them. I mean, the crowd, I'm sure, is chanting "fuck you, Sammy," because I'm sure they know who his wife is and they're all jealous. But anyhow, it's not gonna go.
No, my sentiment, the saying that, my sentiment to him being a fantastic wrestler, that's to everybody else who's just has so much heat on this guy for how he is in real life. I just think in this match he really like reestablished himself. Because here's the thing, Sammy Guevara is a stupid kid.
Yeah,
he makes stupid mistakes. He's been making stupid mistakes, and you know what? He's going to continue to make stupid mistakes.
Yeah, and the crowd is aware of this. The crowd is aware of this because he actually pulled Chris Jericho off of a cover on Bryan Danielson at one point, and the crowd starts chanting "You fucked up" at Sammy, which the crowd was having so much fun with this match, and I was too. So
there were stereo running drop kicks and uppercuts from Castagnoli and Danielson. There were the kicks to the chest that I really liked. Probably my favorite spot from Danielson in the match is that I think it was Guevara had his arm hooked and he was doing the elbows. But as more elbows Guevara was delivering, the more pissed off Danielson was getting. And he just stopped selling the elbows and he just slipped right out of it and then put Guevara into the elbows and then he put Jericho into the elbows. I was waiting for him to do it to Castagnoli, but that was that would have been nice. That would have been a nice trifecta.
Danielson and Castagnoli share the Code of Honor handshake as fellow Blackpool Combat Club members, and then they start beating the crap out of one another, which was awesome. Jericho locks the walls on Guevara, locks the walls on Danielson very seamlessly. Claudio comes in and hits him with uppercuts, and Jericho is like still locking Danielson in the walls. Like, Claudio's trying to break it up, but Jericho is standing there like Sting in the Scorpion Deathlock, like not selling a thing. And then Claudio proceeds to lock in the sharpshooter, and I proceeded to yell out, "That's my move! Bret Hart, lock it in!" You know, it's...
I was going to say, we're weeks removed from the Montreal Screwjob, and we still got people locking in sharpshooters.
Yeah, no. The sharpshooter is going to be locked in at every pay-per-view, I'm sure. Claudio had the sharpshooter on Jericho. Danielson had the label lock on Jericho at the same exact time. The yes lock. Jericho does not tap out. How? like even
again, it's that old fucking trope that I hate. Yeah, that old fucking trope that they did at Night of Champions 2009. They did it at SummerSlam 2012. I think they did it at WrestleMania 37. And, they say the same fucking thing every single time. What happens if Jericho taps out? Who's going to win? Like, stop it. I hate this
restart
trope. As cool as it looks, I fucking hate it.
That's what happens. They restart it.
No point. They did it at King of the Ring 2001 with Jericho and Benoit and Austin. I hate it. I hate that trope. Stop doing it. We keep
going on and on. But one of my favorite tropes in this match was the gimmick of 2 guys who we know are allies, but we know they're going to go in there and all hell's going to break loose. It's going to be every man for himself. And we saw that when Sammy pulled Jericho off the pin. And early on, it was established. Jericho put Sammy in this match basically as his insurance policy. To make sure that Jericho has a 50% chance of leaving with this title. But then Sammy wants to take matters into his own hands. And it was good storytelling. There was a great cutter by Sammy on Claudio. Oh, here we go.
We get to the finish. Yeah, we get to the finish of this match. And a lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was pretty fucking cool.
A neutralizer on the floor to eliminate Bryan for sure. Yeah. And then
Castagnoli finally is able to lock on the Claudio swing onto Guevara. He got a good 12 or 13 rotations in there until Jericho comes out of nowhere flying in with the Judas effect. And I thought that looked pretty damn cool that he was able to knock Claudio Castagnoli mid-Claudio swing with the Judas effect. Castagnoli gets back up. He hits another Judas effect, and Jericho is able to retain the Ring of Honor World title. You know what? After thinking about it, I originally gave it 3 3/4, but I'm going to give this 4 stars. This was such a fun match from start to finish. And I didn't think it was going to be this good.
4.5 for me. This was my match of the night. I liked this more than the trios match. I thought the storytelling was fantastic. I thought all 4 people brought their A games. Like you have 4 of the best wrestlers on the planet here. I almost said 3, including Sammy, but Sammy really brought it. He was the MVP of the match. I'm like, I can't believe I'm saying that with Bryan freaking Danielson in here and Claudio and Jericho, who's someone I've loved for a long time. But Sammy brought it.
What sucks?
He really brought it.
Is it just me? And you know what? That's a rhetorical question because I know it's not just me. But Danielson feels like such an afterthought in AEW now.
I hate agreeing with you. Yeah.
So let me share something that Danielson reported or he said in a recent interview. That excellent triple threat match he did with Roman Reigns and Edge. He said he went out to the ring and he wasn't feeling it. He said when he competed in that match, which I gave 5 stars, by the way, he said when he competed in that match, he was going through the motions. And he said he did not have the drive and the passion anymore. And he was in the main event of freaking WrestleMania. I hate to say it, but I kind of felt the same way about him in this match. He did not look like he had the same passion that he usually does. I don't know what's going on with him in his personal life. I don't know if it's because AEW is not booking him as strongly as he should, but you hate to see it.
Yeah. I mean, he's got 2 young kids at home too. Who knows really? Who knows? I can't really speak on his behalf or anything like that, obviously.
Yeah.
But
it's just something that I noticed, and I just thought it was very interesting that he said, one of his last matches in WWE, which I thought was a barn burner, and he said he had no passion in that match. So Danielson can he can half-ass a match and he still puts on a 5-star classic. Just let that sink in for a minute.
Best wrestler in the world, baby. That's what it is. I mean, ever since his magical return to the ring in 2018, he's been putting on banger after banger after banger, like Sheamus always says. But speaking of magical returns, Tomas, here's a big topic. Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D, is going one-on-one with the returning Saraya, formerly known as Paige for WWE marks out there. Where do I even start with this? Do I start with the negative?
Yeah, because you know what? It's going to start out negative, but our tunes about this, I feel very much changed by the end of this. Let's go back to the last time we were talking about AEW on this podcast, and Saraya had made her grand return. So from there till now, the big story has been, is Saraya actually cleared to wrestle? Because she came in, and I thought the first thing was, well, yeah, she's to wrestle. Why the fuck else would she sign to AEW? If she wanted to sit on her ass and do nothing, she would have stayed with WWE. But they kept going on with the story with, is she cleared? Is she not? Is she cleared? Is she not? And it just went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I'm not going to lie, man, by the time they got to the actual announcement that Saraya was cleared, I didn't care.
Yeah, they kind of teetered on that topic for a while. I feel like if they announced it at Grand Slam itself, it would have been a much more like magical reveal, which I get it. Like, we don't exactly know all the answers in terms of like health and what have you right away. It always fluctuates depending on your situation. But by the end of this match, by the time the actual match came around, when Saraya makes her entrance and she is really, really struggling to hold her emotions back, and I felt for her. I really this is something she wanted for a long, long time. And she got it. She freaking got it. And I got to give her credit where it's due. For someone who has not wrestled in 5 years, she put on a really good match here with the dentist here. It wasn't the best match. Scared. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
A lot of people were scared going into this match, saying, which doctors are giving Saraya the correct advice? Is Saraya really going to go out there? Apparently, according to Saraya, she talked to like 24 doctors, making sure that she got. Here's another thing people need to understand. You know how many doctors Danielson had to talk to before they gave him the okay? It's not like Saraya went to the doctor at AEW. He said okay, and she just went. No, she got multiple opinions. And I'm sure if the negative outweighed the positive, she wouldn't be out here. And, you said that. She makes her way to the ring. She looks very emotional. Her brother is on ringside and
Zack
Zodiac out for her. yeah, that made me mark out. That made me emotional.
And I'm a big fan of this movie too, where I learned it's a fantastic film. I learned so much about her and her family, and it's just such an endearing story as well. And seeing her brother there supporting her. Pardon?
Also, Florence Pugh plays her, so.
Oh yeah, Florence Pugh.
You know I love me some Florence Pugh.
There you go.
She has successfully infiltrated all of my fandoms, and I just love her for it.
Yep. Florence Pugh is the best. So, with that said, I mean, Saraya has been wrestling pretty much all of her adult life, you know, aside from the 5-year sabbatical that she took. Like she has her fundamentals still down to a T. Like, her headlocks and her technique is still really solid. But don't discredit the doctor at all, because whoever was going to go in there with Saraya they had a tough task ahead of them to protect them as best they could, to make sure that they walk out of this match not injured. And the doctor definitely brought that. I mean, this is a dentist, you know, so like she is fully aware that health is number one, you know, making sure health and safety is number one in the ring. But these two
put on a pretty good match, you know, all things considered. I had to go back and watch it again because I wasn't really feeling it my first watch around, but I'm happy for Saraya. You know, she's not going to be back on a full-time schedule. She's still going to have to feel herself out. And, you know, again, like, she's been wrestling since she was 16 years old. She's very young. So this girl has her whole life ahead of her. And, you know, I wish nothing but the best for Saraya. Part of me wanted to see Britt Baker win, but again, it's the big return. So Saraya is able to,
I think story
this is
too.
A girl, I would love to meet Saraya in real life, because you can tell she's a girl who loves her puns. In WWE, her finishers were called the Page Turner and the Rampage. And then what did they call her finisher in AEW? It was like the Night's End.
What the heck was it? It was I'm trying to look at the play-by-play here. No, not the air raid crash. No, that's something else. No. But anyway, we'll figure it out. But
I think it's called the Night's End. You continue talking about this match. I'm gonna find this out because it's
I was just gonna say, I think they told a really good story. The big like psychological focus was, of course, Saraya's neck history. And Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D, was hitting her with curb stomps. She was working over the neck by hitting, you know, elbows to the back of it. There was a point where there was like just a simple little takedown, and Saraya was selling like, oh man, is her neck okay? You know, she's getting the feeling in her arm. She stands up and is like, haha, I psyched you all out. And then she like circles around the ring with Britt Baker, and they continue to wrestle for 13 minutes. 13 minutes. They got a good amount of time. There's some stolen finishers as well. Saraya is taking the lockjaw in this match, which I was, you know, pretty surprised to see Britt put the finisher on. Ripcord elbow strike. Britt Baker hits a stomp. There's some good near falls in this match as well. Saraya hits the cradle DDT, the former Rampage in WWE, twice in a row. And she covers Britt Baker and pins her. It was kind of abrupt if you think about it, but she hit her finisher twice in a row on Dr. Britt Baker D.M.D to pin her. I'm going to go ahead and give this match 3 stars as Tomas continues to search for what Saraya's finisher is actually called in AEW.
I can't find it, so you know what? I'm just going to go with the Night's End. I knew it was it was pun related. And, you know, I want to meet Saraya because she looks like a girl that loves her puns. And I would love to see her and Becky Lynch just have a pun off.
I'd like to see her and Claudio Castagnoli have a pun off. Are you kidding me? You ever watch Up, Down, Down? Claudio and his dad jokes during the Uno streams?
That would be fucking brutal.
I do not want to sit through that. But yeah, no, I'm genuinely very, very happy for Saraya getting through this match unscathed and not injured. She goes and she hugs her brother at ringside, which honestly kind of brought a tear to my eye. It was really, really nice to see that. And Zack Zodiac seems like,
considering knowing how close they are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, they're like the best of friends. I'd like to see Zack Zodiac wrestle in an AEW ring. I'm gonna go ahead and say this, but I mean, it would be fun to have him and his sister team up in like a mixed tag team capacity. If they want to continue the feud with Britt Baker, if Adam Cole comes back, they can do a mixed tag team match there. But I don't know. That's just an idea. It's just an idea that came to mind. But what do you think of this match, Tomas?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. It actually exceeded expectations a lot. Again, I wasn't too excited going into this match because they kind of wore out the idea, is Saraya ready to go? But seeing just how happy she was, and again, I'd be a hypocrite if I sat here and said I was happy for Danielson when he came back, I was happy for Edge when he came back, and if I wasn't happy for Saraya. It's so nice to see. And speaking of those three people, it was Saraya herself that stood in a WWE ring in 2018 after WrestleMania. Or was it 2019?
It was 2018.
It may have been 2019. 2018, yeah, after WrestleMania. And she stood in the ring on Monday Night Raw and said, I can no longer wrestle. And if there's two people that have taught me anything, it's one, Bryan Danielson, that if you work hard enough, you can come back one day. And Edge, who taught her there is a life outside professional. And just seeing all three of those people able to come back from career-threatening injuries, you love to see it. You just fucking love to see it.
This grew on me. Really, really happy to see it. But next up is another very fun match, Tomas.
Well, absolutely. You know what Big E would say about this match?
Big meaty men slapping meat?
Absolutely. He would say, big meaty men slapping meat. Because you got the TNT Championship on the line in a three-way match. It is Wardlow defending against Samoa Joe, the television champion for Ring of Honor, and Powerhouse Hobbs. And you know what?
Sick. I love Goldberg.
Was.
I love Goldberg.
And God damn it. But yeah, that's exactly what this match was. It was big meaty men slapping meat, and it was pretty good.
It was
they
fun.
Were only given 10 minutes, but I think it was pretty good. Yeah, it was a fun match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Wardlow was hitting like Whisper in the Winds off the top rope, which was flabbergasting good old JR. Powerhouse Hobbs was dominating a good portion of the match, just, taking shots at both guys one at a time. They brawl outside for a little bit as well, which looked very, very stiff. Samoa Joe was being his usual great Samoa Joe self. But we get to the end, and Wardlow is hitting a powerbomb symphony on Powerhouse Hobbs, and Samoa Joe comes in with one of the belts and smacks Wardlow right in the face with it. Takes a total Goldberg spot because Wardlow is a Goldberg gimmick, as we've established. Samoa Joe locks in the coquina clutch on Powerhouse Hobbs, and he passes out. New TNT champion Samoa Joe, and I could not be happier for the guy, because I love Samoa Joe to pieces.
I love me some heel Samoa Joe. This is the kind of Samoa Joe I want to see every week. And, after this match, the first thing I said, he's two belts Joe now. And Taz said the same thing. He's not two belts Jones, as Taz loves to say.
Oh, God.
But he is two belts Joe. And you know what? This joke has been done to bits the past 24 hours, but I'm going to say it too. Two Samoan Joes are double champions right now in pro wrestling.
Okay, well, I will counter. Do you think Samoa Joe was celebrating with a big plate of Wendy's? Oh, Wendy's!
God damn
it. Yikes.
Okay, all I got to say is, how's our old girl Wendy doing? Boom! God, I miss Samoa Joe in WWE.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Hey, Joe.
Fucking insults were fucking
Joe looked really good in this match. I mean, he looked better than he has a lot of times in AEW. When did he debut for this company? Double or Nothing?
I think so, yeah. I remember he had actually a really good match with Max Caster on TV.
I remember that one where Max Caster says, I'm main event Max, and he's X Division.
Yeah. And I also remember Samoa Joe beat Johnny Dynamite so bad that we haven't seen him since. Johnny Elite. I'm sorry. I don't know his fucking name anymore.
Fuck, man.
Where the fuck has he been?
Talk about guys who Tony Khan dropped. Talk about guys Tony Khan dropped the ball with, huh?
Oh, Hunter. You want to bring me and my lady back?
Anyway.
More room for Raw and SmackDown? I'm happy for Samoa Joe. I give this match 3 stars. It was big meaty men slapping me, and you know what? This could have been a lot worse, but these are 3 really solid workers. I love the fuck out of Samoa Joe. Don't sleep on Powerhouse Hobbs, and you know what? I'm glad they took the title off of Wardlow because he was starting to wear off on me.
It's very lackluster TNT title reign, wasn't it? He won it from Scorpio Sky shortly after Double or Nothing, and he held the title for a good 5 months or so. Didn't defend it once on pay-per-view until now, and Samoa Joe wins it. What can you really say about it? You can't really say a ton.
Wardlow, I don't think it's Wardlow's fault, but he's really fallen from grace this year, I feel like.
Yeah, it was a really feel-good moment with him powerbombing MJF over and over again in the opener of Double or Nothing. But ever since then, it's just been kind of like, okay, yeah, there he is. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I don't want to keep saying it's a Goldberg gimmick, but literally they follow the dude down the hall as he goes through Gorilla through the curtain, exactly like Goldberg, and the crowd chants Wardlow exactly like Goldberg. It's very, very strange seeing that on the Turner broadcasting program.
A lot of people say, who's the next Brock? Who's the next Stone Cold? Who's the next Hulk Hogan? You got to stop saying that because The Rock is The Rock. Stone Cold is Stone Cold. Those are all legends that cannot be touched. They have not been subtle with this at all, but they are trying to force down our throats that Wardlow is the next Goldberg. And you know what? I don't want Wardlow to be the next Goldberg. I want Wardlow to be the first Wardlow.
Yeah. Hit the nail right on the head. But in a sport like this, you can't help but make comparisons. Like, broadcasters do it all the freaking time, especially if you're a football mark around the time of the draft. The new rookies all coming in, they're always comparing them to the legends, you know, saying, oh, this guy is the next Barry Sanders. Oh, he reminds me a lot of Russell Wilson, you know, like it's second nature for people in sports to do that. But I will give the match bonus points as well for them not beating Wardlow. And honestly, with the match being a triple threat, like, it was definitely a possibility that they would do that. And that's exactly what happened. So I'm not going to fault them for that. And
you know what? Absolutely. And Zach, I'm going to let you introduce this next match, but I want to let everybody know that the loser of the next match has to buy the early bird Denny's special the next morning for the winner. Because going in this next match,
no disqualification match. It's going to be Sting and Darby Allin going up against Jay Lethal and the Last Outlaw, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Let me just say, as someone who was watching TNA in its early days, this match was it felt like I was stuck in a time warp, especially hearing Jeff Jarrett come out to his classic TNA theme song as well. I was like, oh God, here we go. They're going to push Jeff Jarrett to the moon. So, like, go ahead.
Let me tell you something, Zach.
Yeah.
We just got the sequel to Enchanted this past Friday, a film that came out 15 years ago. You know what else was happening 15 years ago?
Sting and Jeff Jarrett in TNA
for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in the main event of Bound for Glory. Let's fast forward 15 years later, they're still headlining fucking pay-per-views. I can't do this anymore. I can't fucking do this anymore. But here's the thing. Jeff Jarrett can still fucking go.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett, he's in great shape. Like, he wrestled Ric Flair's last match.
Such a good fuel.
He wrestled, like,
he was the best part about that.
Yeah, with Jay Lethal and Andrade El Idolo also in that match. Jeff Jarrett was the best part about it. And here's an amazing thing about Jeff Jarrett. Like, we can respect him for sure. Like, anytime he came out as a WWE Hall of Famer, as a special guest referee or whatever, they would politely cheer him and everything like that. But this guy knows how to get heat. This is like an old school Memphis style wrestler here. Right out of this promotion. And it's...
And here's the thing. He's coming down the ramp and he's getting into it with fans. And there's this fan that's legitimately like getting into a screaming fight with him. And Jeff Jarrett pushes the fan. And the fan's getting so upset, and I'm just sitting here thinking, like, that's your fault for getting work, brother. Like, you are playing right into Jeff Jarrett's hand. And again, it's 2022, but it's not 1975 anymore. If you're still letting wrestlers get you that fucking upset, that's your fault, brother.
He's coming down to the ring and he looks to the back, and I think it's going to be Satnam Singh coming down with him. Instead, it's a bunch of Sting lookalikes to play mind games with the opponents, just like right out of WCW 2000 with a bunch of Sting lookalikes surrounding him. And then you get to Darby Allin's music hitting. There's a body bag on the stage. Jay Lethal goes up to investigate, and this is right out of a meme as well. This could be a Botchamania gimmick as well. But Jay Lethal gets close enough to the body bag. Big thing of steam pops out. Darby Allin just pops out of the steam, hits him with a skateboard. One of the Sting lookalikes rips off the Sting mask to reveal the real Sting right behind Jeff Jarrett. Why does he have to wear? Does he have to wear a mask?
Because he did it once in 2010 in TNA, and then AEW doesn't know when a joke stops being funny.
WCW 2000 as well.
And so I didn't know Kevin Dunn was producing the show because the entire time Darby Allin is fighting Jay Lethal, the camera is fixated right on Jeff Jarrett's stupid face. And it was like, I don't want to see that. I want to see the action.
Good Lord. Good Lord, man. They were waiting for Jeff Jarrett's reaction to seeing Sting behind him.
So, you know what? If you've seen one Sting and Darby Allin match on AEW pay-per-view, you've seen them all. They do the same fucking shit. They're brawling out in the audience. One spot that I will give credit to is that Darby Allin is absolutely insane, and I'm kind of tired of saying that because it's the same thing with him.
This dude's going to kill himself.
Coffin drop off of a ladder. Yeah, he goes for a coffin drop off the ladder that's already on the stage onto Jeff Jarrett, and Satnam Singh catches him like he's a baby. Out of there.
Yeah, hits a choke slam on Darby Allin, and Omos 2.0 goes to the ring, and he tries to help out Sanjay Dutt and Jeff Jarrett. Sting.
Here's the thing: Satnam Singh sucks, but at least he's working with a guy that's gonna fucking bump for him in Darby Allin. At least I'll give him that, because this is the best Satnam Singh has looked ever since he got to AEW. But Darby Allin, you entrusted this big oaf to catch you as you were falling 20 feet in the air. If that's not trust, I don't know what is.
Not to mention a big green oaf as well. How do you know that Satnam Singh was going to catch him? You know, Darby Allin's more of a daredevil than we think. Thank God he was caught. Sting, like the crazy son of a bitch that he is at 63 years old, jumps out of the rafters into a big gigantic abyss, again using a TNA terminology. The crowd was chanting TNA pretty loudly during this match with Sting and Jeff Jarrett facing off. Jarrett
and Jay Lethal. Oh wait, that's right. Jay Lethal was a total afterthought in this match.
God,
it pisses me off so much.
Jay Lethal's too precious for this world, man. Like, I wish he would jump ship to WWE and he wasn't so loyal, but he's just
such a loyalist, though.
That's just who he is as a person, though. You can't really fault him for that.
No.
But with seeing the way he's treated on this program, it's like, come on. There was a very impressive spot where Sting had Satnam Singh ready for a death drop, and then he couldn't get him all the way down, so Darby had to do a coffin drop assist. Like, where's Excalibur to call that in slow motion from PWG? Darby with the coffin drop assist.
It sure felt like it was in slow motion, but here's what makes me fucking mad about this match. So you got Sting. Of course, you got to protect Sting because it's been 2 fucking years and he still has never taken a pin.
Nope.
You got Darby Allin, who obviously they want to protect because he's a big star. You got Jay Lethal and you got Jeff Jarrett. I'm sorry. I do not fucking care that Jeff Jarrett just got here. Jeff Jarrett should have taken the pin.
Yeah. Better yet, how about Sting should have taken the pin from Jeff Jarrett? If you wanted to put Jeff Jarrett over, just have him pin Sting. It's fine.
Because here's the thing. I like I said before, you've seen one Sting and Darby Allin match on pay-per-view. You've seen them all.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it just feels like same old again.
Lethal goes for the lethal injection, which is such a beautiful move. He gets caught with a botched death drop. And then Darby Allin hits the coffin drop, and Jay Lethal takes the pin. And I'm sorry, this match would have been fun, but that just pisses me off so much. That Lethal always has to take the fucking pin.
Yeah.
He is the longest reigning Ring of Honor television champion in history. You know what? That actually made me more mad than I thought it was. I'm going to give this 2.5 stars.
I'm going to go with a 2.5 stars as well. And it's not necessarily for that reason. There was a point in the match, because this is no disqualification, right? Darby, and most of you probably know where I'm going with this if you've been longtime followers of the ZNT wrestling show. Darby and Lethal start wrestling in the ring, and then it looks like there's order that is going down. And then I see freaking Jeff Jarrett start standing on the apron asking for a tag. And I'm like, no. There's no way. And then right after that, before I even finish the thought, Sting gets up on the apron ready for a tag. And I'm like, you two combined have been doing this for way too fucking long to know that you should not be standing on the apron waiting for a tag when there's no disqualifications. It does not matter.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that, to be honest, but I get you. I definitely get you.
That aggravated me to no end. They should not have been waiting for tags, but anyway, let's make ourselves feel better with this next match, dude, because this was actually a really great match.
Yeah. Next up for the AEW Women's Championship, you got Toni Storm defending against Jamie Hayter. Honestly, a match that felt like this is the Women's Championship match, and it felt like the least important out of the three, because Nyla Rose and Jade Cargill was getting a lot of TV time. Saraya and Britt Baker was important for obvious reasons, but I just feel like they threw this match together. And I feel like they threw this match together because Tony Khan is not taking the AEW Women's Championship seriously because it's an interim title. I think that is bullshit. When your champion is still on the shelf, I'm sorry, you need to strip Thunder Rosa at this point. Toni Storm has been my AEW Women's Champion throughout all of this. Mm-hmm. And Jamie Hayter is as over as she is with the crowd. And you know what? At the beginning, I want to say the first half of this match wasn't really into it. But when we got to the insanity that was the finish, it got a lot better.
Yeah. Was it overbooked? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean I had a great time with it. Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter put on the best women's match in AEW in a while. I was really digging it.
I was getting pissed off by the finish. I was getting pissed off because
the crowd was starting to see the writing on the wall, because Toni Storm kept kicking out of Jamie Hayter's offense. Jamie Hayter hit a Storm Zero, again, bonus points for a stolen finisher. Toni Storm just kept kicking out, and the crowd was like, no, we're not gonna accept it.
I was getting mad because you know what makes me mad about AEW is that you have these people that are clearly over, but they don't give them wins over the big people. So Rebel comes out and she causes a distraction because she hits Toni Storm with the Women's Championship. She gets caught and she gets ejected. Toni Storm kicks out. Toni Storm hits a big move. Jamie Hayter kicks out. Then Britt Baker comes out and hits Toni Storm with a curb stomp on the belt. She throws her back in. Storm kicks out. I'm starting to get real pissed off at this point. Storm hits a Storm Zero. Hayter kicks out. And then Britt Baker goes to take off the turnbuckle pad, and she gets caught. And then Jamie Hayter, I think Toni Storm's going to beat Jamie Hayter then. And then Hayter hits her off of the turnbuckle pad, and then she hits the ripcord lariat. And finally, Jamie Hayter wins the AEW Women's Championship. That is so fucking cool. It's nice to see the title. Yeah, it's nice to see the title on someone who didn't used to be in WWE.
And it's and as organically over as Jamie Hayter is with this audience, like, it's so awesome to see. I think I'm gonna give this
still a heel, but it's gonna be a while.
Yeah. After the match, Britt Baker alongside Rebel and her poor acting skills come out to celebrate with Jamie Hayter. I'm gonna go with a 3 3/4 on this. I think this was the best women's match on the night. Best AEW women's match I've seen in quite some time. Here's my thought though. Inevitably, we're probably going to get Jamie Hayter versus Dr. Britt Baker D.M.D. for this belt at some point. If we can learn from past wrestling mistakes, when's the last time we've seen something like this? You have a stable and you have a star on the rise win the world title, and their leader is sitting there jealous. This company, speaking of, we're going to get to this retrospective in just a few short months.
I was to say, something that we're going to be talking about in the next few months. And what is that?
Yep. It's when Randy Orton won the World Heavyweight title in 2004 while he was still a member of Evolution, Triple H immediately the next night on Raw kicks him out of the group. Like, WWE could not freaking wait to do this feud. If we can learn a lesson from this, Jamie Hayter can wrestle Toni Storm in a rematch. She can wrestle Thunder Rosa for, the undisputed women's title once she comes back. Hell, she could even wrestle Saraya if she wanted to. But let the build with Dr. Britt Baker be a slow build, please. Like, if nothing else, like, I would just love to see that mistake learned from. Because that was honestly, if I could be a spoiler for that Unforgiven pod real quick, that whole feud between Randy Orton and Triple H, if that never happened, Randy Orton could very well be the face of WWE, like, period. But anyway.
Yeah, a lot sooner than he did end up eventually being. It would have been a 5-year wait on that. But yeah, I'm gonna match 3 3/4 stars. This was a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. They made the right call because Storm would have just retained. I would have been a little annoyed. Okay, my friend.
Yes.
This is where I started getting tired.
Yep. The Acclaimed defending the World Tag Team titles against Swerve and Our Glory in the final match in the trilogy, and the weakest match of the trilogy, unfortunately. Mainly because the crowd was so into this, and I have a phone call coming in. I'm just gonna turn that off real quick. My apologies. So basically, the crowd started getting freaking exhausted. And this is the Acclaimed. They're freaking over, right? Like, you would have never have guessed that the Acclaimed were as over as they were. Like, the crowd was silent.
I think that's because this is my reason for it. I'm tired of this match. It was so fucking good at All Out. And then I liked it at Grand Slam, but you knew why they were doing it a second time because Tony Khan fucked up and did not put the tag team titles on the Acclaimed. And that when Swerve and Lee won the title match again, I'm just like, are we really fucking doing this again? Like, I'm tired of this feud. It's been going on like a little too long. And, I want to see Strickland and Lee break up. And I just hated that I had to stick through 3 more weeks of this or another month of this.
Yep. It's, Keith Lee should definitely be a babyface, like, in every regard, because he is not a heel when you look at that guy.
No.
And, like, there had been tension, like, between Swerve and Keith Lee teased, even when they formed the tag team. Like, we knew that was a temporary team. Both of those are singles guys. They're singles guys. And they're just kind of thrown together. We knew that these probably...
If you look at the dynamic between... Yeah, if you look at the dynamic between Lee and Strickland, Keith Lee looks like a guy that would buy you lunch, and Swerve Strickland is a guy that would steal your car while you weren't looking.
Yeah.
Completely total opposites.
Yeah. Match was fine. I mean, it was better at All Out. It was probably also better at Grand Slam when the Acclaimed actually won the belts. The crowd was wanting Daddy Ass out there, and Daddy Ass did run out towards the end to try and get even with Swerve for breaking his fingers with the tweezers so he cannot scissor the Acclaimed anymore. Like, what a fucking bastard, Swerve. Like, and I love that Tony Schiavone...
Sneaky Swerve.
Yeah.
Sneaky Swerve, as they keep calling him.
I love that Tony Schiavone is saying that Swerve is more concerned about stopping the Acclaimed from scissoring each other than winning the tag titles. Like,
exactly. I mean, that was another thing I did not like about this match because, the minute Swerve Strickland pulled out the pliers, I was just like, didn't we not just see this in the Trios titles match with the hammer? Now it's pliers. So Strickland tries to get Lee to, break Caster's fingers. And then Lee says, you know what? I'm tired of this. We're not doing this. Let's win these titles. Strickland slaps the shit out of Keith Lee. And Keith Lee just says, you know what? You're on your own.
Walks out.
He finally walks out. He finally stands up for himself. Good for you, Keith Lee. So Strickland is, he's down for the count now. He tries to win this match on his own, but to no avail. Obviously, the Acclaimed retain their tag team titles. We're done with this feud. I never want to see this match again. Please.
Yeah. Let's have the Acclaimed to move on to like FTR or something like that, who are mysteriously absent from this pay-per-view. And
Again.
the Acclaimed look really good. Anthony, there were concerns about Anthony Bowens being injured, shoulder-wise. He looked really good in this match. Max freaking Caster also cut a very amazing rap before the match. We got 2 for the price of 1, basically. We usually get 4 lines of Max Caster rap. He gave us 8. And another side note, I would love to have a conversation about movies with Max Caster at some point down the line, because he said that Swerve looked like Randall from Monsters, Inc., and I'm like, damn, that's
I popped for that shit.
And then he said he loves Keith Lee's performance in The Blind Side, which is very, very rude.
Fucking hell.
You know,
fucking got him.
It was so fucking rude, man. Keith Lee does
not something.
Yeah.
I hate to put my favorite YouTuber on blast, but again, this was like 11 years ago. Good mic work. Back at Night of Champions 2011, he used to be so fucking rude. He was reviewing Night of Champions 2011, and then just out of nowhere he goes, and then up next, Precious finally won his first world title. Oh, I'm sorry, I mean Mark Henry. I'm like, what the fuck? Where did that come from? The disrespect. So that's the first thing
you can't say that. You can't say that.
That's the first thing I thought of when
Keith Lee and Michael Orr look nothing alike. What are you talking about?
Oh my god! Oh, Precious finally won his first world title. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean Mark Henry.
3 1/4, 3.5 stars for this match. It wasn't as good as All Out. Nowhere near as good as All Out. It was so much fun watching that match, and I was wanting the Acclaim to win.
I'll give it
bad.
3.
Yeah.
I'm just sick of this feud. I want Keith Lee. I want Keith Lee to be world champion. I want Swerve Strickland to
go back to Hit Row.
Cool.
Go back to Hit Row.
I don't think he wants to do that. I don't know. Hit Row's not doing too good on SmackDown, man.
Nah.
Swerve Strickland deserves to be world champion. Let's be honest.
Yeah, Keith Lee does. Just give me Samoa Joe versus Keith Lee for the TNT title at some point. Like, tell me you don't want to see that match. Like, anybody watching this, tell me you don't want to see Joe and Lee. I dare you. But Tomas, here we are. Big story.
This is the match we've all been waiting for the AEW World Championship. Maxwell Jacob Friedman is cashing in his casino ladder poker chip against the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley with William Regal in his corner. It's been a minute. How do we get to this point? After the whole all-out debacle, MJF, he won the casino ladder match to get a shot at the world title. He originally planned on cashing in on CM Punk, but CM Punk did what he did. They held a tournament to crown a new AEW World Champion. That was Jon Moxley. MJF was teasing when he was going to cash in his poker chip. And then he comes out and he has the greatest promo of all time with William Regal. And Regal challenges him right there to say, can you win this championship without cheating? Until you can do that, then you haven't proven anything to me. MJF changes his ways. He tells Moxley, I'm not going to challenge on you right here, right now, after you defended the title against Hangman Adam Page. I'm going to wait until Full Gear, so you have no excuses, and I'm going to do this the right way. So a million fantastic promos later, and here we are. MJF challenging Moxley in his hometown of New Jersey.
MJF playing a total babyface out there, and the crowd is just loving every bit of MJF, and he is just getting a hero's welcome. Moxley comes down to the ring, and the crowd starts chanting, "Fuck you, Moxley." It honestly reminded me a lot of the One Night Stand 06 crowd a little bit, to a lesser extent. The crowd wasn't as...
Is it just me? Is it just me, or is Jon Moxley getting a lot of hate recently?
I mean, like, not that I've noticed fully, because I haven't really had the time to be watching Dynamite every week, but Mox, like, he's been the MVP of this year for sure, and he's gotten AEW out of a lot of pinches recently, and he's been the flag bearer for two tumultuous times in AEW. First through the pandemic era, and then after this whole CM Punk situation. Moxley's been the flag bearer, and he has been carrying the banner very well. So I don't.
So it's been very surprising.
I don't understand it.
I feel like on the internet he's been getting a lot of hate. A lot of people all of a sudden think he's not a good wrestler. And then even this past week on Dynamite, Moxley said, "I'm the best damn wrestler on the planet," and I know that's going to piss some of you off that I said that. And Moxley was playing heel tonight because he knew he was in enemy territory. Is it also just me, or does Moxley always find himself being public enemy number one because his opponent is the hometown hero?
Yeah. I don't know how that happens. I don't know. Like, what are the odds? Wrestling Hangman Page in Virginia, wherever he's from. MJF from New Jersey, obviously.
Page in Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
He was in his own hometown. He wrestled Page.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but no, wrestling CM Punk in Chicago, now wrestling MJF in New York, New Jersey. And during the match, too, Moxley knows when to turn on the heel switch when he's public enemy number one, and he flips off the crowd.
Yeah. MJF was selling the knee extremely well. Mox locked in the figure four for a while, and MJF just screaming in agony. The little shit is stuck in that figure four leg lock for a while, and turns it over.
So I feel
good
like
wrestling
with most main event world title matches, you have to have that slow build into that epic climax. And these guys were working that slow build pretty well so they go to the apron and it gets a little awkward. And then MJF hits a tombstone pile driver on the side of the apron. And I don't know, it just came off a little sloppy. And then after that, MJF started selling his own knee. And then after that, the match, I don't want to say fell apart, but it was getting a little shaky. Also, what's with all the tombstones tonight?
Yeah, no, the tombstone pile driver has been it's been a favorite move of a lot of people, apparently. But do you want to get to the big topic right away? MJF is locked in the floor. Like, he fooled us all.
So near the end of the match, there was a ref bump, and Jon Moxley locks in the bully choke onto MJF, and another referee comes down, but he still no. MJF tapped out. The referee doesn't see it. Another ref is making his way down. That referee gets inadvertently knocked out, and then MJF goes for the Dynamite Diamond ring that he's been winning a lot of his matches with. He told Regal he was not going to win with that ring.
Can I stop you real quick? MJF wrestling the whole fucking match with that Dynamite Diamond ring in his trunks. How is that not uncomfortable? Like,
exactly. How did he not pinch his nether regions with that?
Yeah.
But after, and MJF is about to do it, Regal throws down his headset, comes down to the ring, and starts screaming at MJF, "Don't even think about it. Don't do it." So MJF throws the ring to the side. He flips off Regal. And I think Jon Moxley hits the Death Rider, but as they go down and the referee is still down, you see it coming from a mile away. William Regal immediately pulls out the brass knuckles. He gives them to MJF. MJF knocks out Jon Moxley with the nuts.
Power of the punch.
There you go. MJF is your new AEW World Champion.
Oh, the little shit finally did it. The little shit finally got his big
William Regal. William Regal and MJF, they were in on it together the entire time. Because let me tell you something. This wasn't a sudden change of heart for Regal and he turned on Moxley. These two motherfuckers from one villain to another, they were in cahoots together the entire time.
So I think it's safe to assume that the Blackpool Combat Club is dead, mainly because their namesake turned his back on their leader and their star pupil, if you will. MJF, I mean, this was, it was a good wrestled match up to your point, and then the finish got way, way, way complicated and overbooked, but, I mean, I think it was perfectly well done, very well executed, and the timing of everything was really cool. Mox tries to go wake up the official, and he doesn't even see Regal toss the brass knucks to MJF. And MJF getting that 3 count and getting the pop, he looked like he was on the verge of tears. A homegrown AEW talent at 26 years old, winning the AEW World Title. MJF is my age. That is so crazy.
7 years in the business. MJF does not look like your typical professional wrestler. He's talked about how he's been bullied a lot in his life. MJF, I aspire to be as petty as MJF. They told MJF he couldn't do it. MJF said, "Fuck you, watch me." And he did it. He became the world champion of the second biggest wrestling promotion in the world at 24 years old and
26.
7 years experience.
26.
26 years old? Thank you. Okay, thank you. Yeah, only 7 years in the business.
Ugh.
If that doesn't motivate you to go out there and chase your dreams, I don't know what will.
This fucker was on Grimm's Toy Show in 2015. Anybody familiar with that YouTube channel? And like, it's it's fun to watch. MJF was on one of those skits, and here he is as AEW champion now. Like, it's crazy to think about it that way.
The guy that was on Alicia Ataut's show and grabbed the microphone from her and said, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm reporting to you from the worst country in the world, Canada, and I'm with Tits McGee from Whore Island. How you doing?" That man is now your world champion.
What a piece of shit. What a piece of shit. But
he's fucking awful, and I love him.
Yeah, he's gonna hold on to this belt for a long time. This crowd
MJF,
MJF.
flips off little kids.
Yeah.
He flips off little kids. He calls people in wheelchairs Hot Wheels.
He's a hot commodity, and now here he is as the world champion with 1 year left on his deal. It's gonna be an interesting time for AEW.
He tweets at people on Twitter and tells them when their kids wear his shirt, he tells them you should have aborted her. How is this man? How does this man get away with what he does?
So I don't know, man, but even his own parents like really lean into the gimmick. So I saw a tweet of his mom and dad holding up a sign with a baby picture of Maxwell Jacob Friedman saying, "This is a different man, but same shitty attitude." You know, it's
I'm
like,
pretty sure MJF has tweeted at his mom, "Fuck you, mom."
oh yeah, oh he absolutely has. It's but this is a guy, I mean, joking aside, absolutely deserves this. And no disrespect to Moxley, because again, he's been carrying this banner for a long time, but I think it's time for some new blood here, and MJF is the perfect definition of new blood. I thought this guy was ready 2 years ago when him and Moxley wrestled in front of nobody at All Out. But
me too. My first memory of MJF was the very first Double or Nothing pay-per-view where Bret Hart revealed the new AEW World Championship, and MJF came out, started cutting a promo on Bret, and said, "Oh my God, Bret, look out, there's a fan." And I was just like, this guy pushes the envelope, and I fucking love it. Because not a single wrestler has the balls to say that what MJF says.
Yep. MJF is greater than CM Punk, but anyway,
yes, he is.
I'm glad to, like, again, joking aside, I feel like this is the direction they were going to go anyway. Like, you could have, like, God forbid CM Punk doesn't do what he does at the Brawl Out Scrum. It probably would have had the same outcome with MJF becoming the champion, but, I mean, I'm glad to see that AEW is back on the right track here. This main event was very good. I'm going to go ahead and give it 3.5 stars. Like, there were a couple of clunky moments in there. It wasn't the best AEW main event I've ever seen, but certainly
it's going to be very, 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 very exciting to see who MJF works with next. Not talking about the Eliminator tournament, because that's just fresh meat for MJF. That's his first test. But I want to see who his first pay-per-view opponent's going to be. It's going to be a very exciting build to whoever that ends up being, because it has to be a big time babyface that can benefit from working with MJF. Maybe a Jungle Boy. Maybe he can run back Danielson. I'd love to see Danielson and MJF. Claudio Castagnoli is another guy that comes to mind. This is the time to start pushing your AEW talent. You could run back Darby Allin.
You could.
Adam Page. Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. Let's get back to basics here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start booking your AEW grown talent in the main event of these pay-per-views. No more CM Punks. No more washed up people that don't deserve to be in this business.
Yeah.
Let's try this again.
I'm there with you, you know. But yeah, Full Gear, great show to get this company back on the right track. I'm going to go ahead and give this show a 9. It's an outstanding show from top to bottom. Like, there's points where I got tired towards the end, like the tag title match, and there were a couple matches that I could have done without. Could have honestly done the no DQ match on Dynamite for all I know, but it's still a very, very great wrestling show from top to bottom. Probably AEW's best. I think Forbidden Door was a little bit better than this, like thinking more and more about it, but this is easily the most fun I've had watching AEW in a while.
I'm going to give this 8 out of 10. This was the best paced pay-per-view for AEW, and this was, I'm sorry, I got a text.
It's okay.
My personal favorite of the year, because like I said, it was very well paced. I didn't get tired till near the end of the show. There wasn't 16, 17 matches on the show. Again, they could cut down these pay-per-views just a little more down, and they got this whole in 4 hours. And again, what a 180 from All Out, where I was really upset with the finishes. But with this show, I was very satisfied with who they chose to go over in this match. With the exception of Jay Lethal taking the pin, I have no issue with any of these. AEW is definitely, again, because, okay, let's look at it now. MJF, The Acclaimed, Jamie Hayter, Samoa Joe, Orange Cassidy, and
Jericho, if you want to count the ROH title.
I don't want to count RHL. I'm just thinking about your core AEW titles. With the exception of Joe, those are all homegrown AEW talents. Yes. MJF, The Acclaimed, Jade Cargill, Jamie Hayter. These are all new names. Mm-hmm. This is the direction I want to see AEW going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and putting those people over as much as possible. I can't wait to see where this goes next. And it was just announced that
in the Death Triangle.
Yeah, Death Triangle there too. I mean, it sure as hell is going to be fun. And it was just announced that Revolution is going to be coming to our neck of the woods in San Francisco at the Chase Center on March 5th. So I am definitely planning on being there, friends. Yeah?
Yeah, we fucking plan on being there. And it's our first AEW show. They listened. They came to the West Coast.
Thank the freaking Lord. They came to the Bay Area.
It's not San Jose, it's not Sacramento, but you know what? San Francisco is literally an hour drive from us. You're crazy if you don't think that we're not going to make the trip. We're going to be there.
It's close enough, my friends. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hit that subscribe button if you're new, if you want to talk all things wrestling. I also talk movies here all the time. Hit that thumbs up as well. Likes really, really help these videos get out there to more beautiful viewers like you. It's been fun, guys. Take care. See you guys till the next one.